So, folks, there is this lady named Candace Owens, and she worked for the Daily Wire for a while, had a falling out with them, and oddly has done really well for herself as like an insane far-right grifter type whose main like defining thing is like willingness to engage on pop culture issues and also is against the killing of civilians in Gaza, which puts her at odds with a lot of conservative
types. That would be some
types.
great absurdist satire if it wasn't real. Hey, you truckin' Nazi, do you like Mickey D's?
That was how that Nelk podcast came across, though. The Full Send podcast. It was some of the most horrifying shit I've ever seen. Pluvius, thank you for the $5 dono. So one of the angles that Candace Owens really got going underneath when she was just about at her end of days at Daily Wire was this idea that Brigitte Macron, the wife of the president of France, is secretly a trans woman. This has been like one of her big like conspiracies that she's pushed. She's since like come out and said that like science isn't real and like, she doesn't think we landed on the moon, like a bunch of like pretty kooky conspiracy theories, but this one really takes the cake. So she alleges that there is this massive conspiracy to hide the fact that Brigitte Macron is actually a man. And she has made, in fact, a multi-part documentary series, and I say that loosely, that's been viewed by millions of people called Becoming Brigitte. And it's truly deranged, right? You have how many hours of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like a 7-hour mini series about how, well, actually, Brigitte Macron is a secret trans and is a man, right? And like she's really, really gone all in on this, and millions of people watch her videos and just believe it because they're suckers who are being taken for a ride. And yeah, she has talked about how like her entire reputation as a journalist is based on the fact that she can prove, in her estimation, that Brigitte Macron is actually a male, a trans woman in disguise. I guess not in disguise, but you understand what I mean, right? It's wild, right? So here's just some of the things that have been streamed by Candace Owens lately. This is from June 30th.
Unbelievable surprise. That actually would be the least surprising thing ever. But that is not the case. It's actually much crazier. And like I said, I've been holding on to this for a very long time because something happened all the way back in February. And I was sworn to secrecy temporarily. And I feel that today is the correct day to inform audiences because it may have some severe global implications.
So I'm seeing the question, even if Brigitte Macron were trans, like who would care about that? And the answer is no one should care. If Brigitte Macron was in fact trans, okay, whatever. But in the minds of the people who buy into this conspiracy theory, it is evidence that like the world's elites are all in on an elaborate conspiracy that involves people at the highest echelons of power lying in order to help one another at presumably our expense in some nebulous way. And therefore you can't trust, if you can't trust like the president of France to be honest about his wife's gender status, then you can't trust NASA. And that means you can't trust that we went to the moon, and you can't trust science. And like, it just kind of like spirals, like it remember the concept that I've talked about so often on this channel, the conspiracy singularity? I just demonstrated for you like how that works, right? You spread the distrust on like a seemingly small, insubstantial issue, but then you're like, see, if this is true, the cover-up would have to be really extensive and involve a lot of different people. And then they're, instead of being like, yeah, that makes it very implausible, I will go back to not believing in it. They go, so what else are they lying about? right? So then this is how you get people genuinely believing in like flat Earth. This is how you get people genuinely believing that you can't go to Antarctica because it's secretly an ice wall, and on the other side of it is another larger stretch of ocean, with different lands to sail to. Like this is how the conspiracy singularity functions, and Candace Owens has kind of come into an orbit around that conspiracy singularity.
Location. So here is what happened. All right. The date was Monday, February 24th. And in the early evening, I had just kind of wrapped the show. It was just after 5:30 p.m. to be precise. I received a very strange message from a friend of mine. I'm not going to identify that friend, but the message specifically read, "Hey, I have something to tell you from the White House. They asked me to call you. I'm just the messenger here." Again, strange. I'm just the messenger here, like kind of removing themselves from whatever was going to be said. So I assume it's got to be something weird. And I say, yeah, whatever, give me a call. And so he does call me pretty immediately, by the way. And he says, somebody very high up at the White House has asked me to ask you if, as a favor, you could stop speaking about Brigitte Macron.
Do you see now how like this becomes more and more like sucked into the conspiracy theory? Like, oh man, someone from the White House is trying to kill the story.
You activated my trap card. Reverse conspiracy. I think there's a group of media influencers spreading lies and brainwashing the masses.
Jazz Dog, thank you for the $5 dono.
Like, what? Excuse me? I'm not kidding when I say that.
They're trying to silence Candace. We can't let this happen. Everyone rally to her defense.
A myriad of possibilities that were floating through my brain about what this phone call was going to be about. That was not one of them. So I'm just kind of having to redirect, and I'm going, oh, what are you talking about? To be clear, we had, ironically, as a podcast, we had just ended our Brigitte Macron series 4 days earlier on February 20th. That's when we released the last episode, which was the epilogue. So I'm going, that doesn't make sense. Why am I getting this phone call now? And obviously, I ask for a little more information. I say, who specifically called you? And that friend of mine says, it's somebody that has the president's ear. This is somebody important. So I'm thinking, okay, this is advisor, Susie Wiles, I don't know. And I tell my friend, go back to that person and just say I said no. It's free speech. This is obviously an important story to me. The implications here are pretty severe about what I've uncovered. So no deal. Hang up. I go into my husband's office and I tell him what just happened. And honestly, I'm kind of laughing at the absurdity of it because I hadn't thought beyond what may have happened. And then I do what I always do just in case. I call Noah. I call the lawyer and I'm like, hey, I know Macron's, sending us legal letters. Just want you to add this onto the pile that somebody at the White House is asking me to just stop speaking about Brigitte Macron. Cool. We kind of have a laugh about it, run it different ways. Are we going to expect something else to be delivered to my door? Another threat, implicit threat from the Macrons, somebody calling in a favor, who knows, whatever. Anyways, we do dinner and I am kind of feeling bad about my pregnant attitude on the phone call, because I was 8 weeks away from birth. And I was a bit shorter on the phone than I would have been if there wasn't like a growing infant foot that's lodged under my lung. And this person has been very good to me in the past.
Is Candace Owens a believer or a grifter? My understanding is that Candace Owens is a grifter. I don't think she fundamentally cares about whether or not the things she says are true. Like, I think she really demonstrated that when she had Yi on. She had Yi on when she was at the Daily Wire, and then she had him on again when she went independent. And like, I think her husband at one point was entertaining business deals with Yi. I don't think she gives a shit about what's true or not. I think she just cares about making money.
Yes. And so I resolve that before I go to bed, I'll phone him back and have a much more calm conversation. Not that I was rude, but just like, hey, what's this actually about? And so I did.
But ultimately, I've never cared about whether or not someone is a grifter or a true believer, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
And not only that, before I called this individual back, when I checked online, I realized that Emmanuel Macron is in Washington, D.C., February 24th. He is in Washington, D.C., and he had departed the White House just hours before I received the call.
Subtle threats. Her bread looked like a baguette. Ha ha ha. I was going about my business and then the shopkeeper laughed a certain laugh. Ha ha ha. And I had to run, for I knew they were about to get me.
Anyways, I am in awe. A lot of thoughts are running through my mind. What could this possibly be about? And when I call that person back, they tell me something that is even stranger. They say, look, I again am the messenger here. What I was told from somebody that's pretty high up at the White House is that Emmanuel Macron is holding up negotiations to end the Russian and Ukrainian war unless you stop speaking about his wife. And I'm just going, that doesn't sound real, actually. And then not concerning myself with it anymore. Genuinely, I don't believe that. I don't believe a single guy that I can believe that someone from the White House called Candace Owens and was like, hey, Emmanuel Macron doesn't want you like bad mouthing his wife, and he knows that you have connections. Please stop. I can believe that because that's within the realm of possibility for like a White House staffer to do, or like, Trump to try and pull some strings, whatever. I don't believe that Emmanuel Macron was holding up the peace process in Ukraine. I don't think like Ukraine's fate hinged on Emmanuel Macron. There's literally no evidence of that, and also no evidence that like a peace deal was almost there, but for the transphobia of Candace Owens. What? What are you saying? What are we even speaking about? What do you mean negotiations between Russia and Ukraine? I'm just like, looking into a story at my house. I've got a very small team here, and you're telling me that somehow negotiations are being held up and it needs to be communicated to me that I got to stop talking about Brigitte? What are we saying? And then I'm asking myself in my mind, because I hang up this phone and I am in true shock. Did Emmanuel Macron pretend to fly into DC under the guise of negotiations, Russia and Ukraine?
I love that she puts herself at the center of the conspiracy.
Doesn't this make her sound worse if she picked her documentary over the lives of the Ukrainians?
But no. What she's doing here is she's about to say it's actually Macron's fault because he came here under the pretense of negotiating peace with Ukraine. And in fact, he was really here to apply pressure to me and the true story of how his wife is a trans woman. Yeah, this is pretty unhinged, right? Like, this is pretty like out there. And I need to really stress here, she has 4.5 million subscribers, and she's growing fast. This video that we're reacting to right now has 2.6 million views. So like this, unfortunately, in conservative circles, has a lot of legs, like more legs than we see on Daily Wire videos or Matt Walsh videos. Like this, she averages multi-million views on her streams. This, unfortunately, appeals to a lot of people because conspiracism is in right now.
In war, and then instruct someone on his entourage to have an off-the-books discussion, a little meeting on the side. Maybe
are they real views? I have no reason to doubt that they're real.
Somebody, again, like a Susie Wiles, where he made his truer demands. Like, hey, this is for the pictures. Me and Trump, we're talking about you. We're going to get it done. And then what really goes on behind the scenes is like, we're not doing anything until that little podcaster, Candace, agrees to shut her mouth. What? This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost unbelievable even.
So I say,
was this recent? This was like June 30th.
We ended the conversation. I say, I'm going to sleep on this. It's a lot to process. I remember I get into bed and I just turn to my husband and I say, no one will ever believe us. Just something that just arrived at me very suddenly. I said, no one will ever believe that this just took place. And my husband's like, yeah, no, this is just very, very strange. And I promised the individual that I would pray on it, that I would think further about the situation. What are the implications here? And I then call him back the next day and I say, look, this is pretty weird. You have to admit this is pretty weird. And you're not really giving me any details. And I kind of want to know who specifically you spoke to, because I think it kind of matters. Is somebody trying to do a side deal while Trump is doing a different deal? And at that moment, he's honest and he says, no, President Trump was on the phone too. And I go, oh, are you kidding me? You didn't tell me this yesterday?
Whoa, President Trump? Woke President Donald J. Trump trying to suppress the truth that the French president's wife is really a trans person? Wow. Wow, what a betrayal. Bigger than any other betrayal that might be going on with Donald Trump.
That there was some sort of a conference call and President Trump is on the line. You didn't mention. I go, did you lie to me yesterday? Were you trying to pretend that it was like a third party person? And he says, no, I didn't lie to you. I didn't lie to you. Like, I got a phone call and I obviously in the background, Trump communicated something to me. So he was there when the phone call took place. And I'm going, what the heck is going on? Literally, what is happening right now? So I got the phone with him and I just say, I just need time to process what you're saying. This is so absurd. How could this become an issue that is involving the president of the United States? I'm doing a series on my podcast. And then I just kind of get into mommy mode because it's Tuesday. My daughter's got ballet. I'm at ballet with my daughter. And I get a text message from that person that says, you need to pick up the phone. Somebody from the White House is calling you. And I say, okay, it happened so quickly. I pick up the phone and sure enough, it is somebody at the White House that is calling me. It's not Donald Trump, but it's somebody at the White House that is calling me. That's pretty high up, close proximity to Trump. I'm not going to name. And this person just, I assume, has never even watched 1 minute of my content because...
How dare they, Candace? How dare they? Everyone in the Trump White House should be watching Candace Owens' content.
I mean, if there were a guide to how not to approach Candace Owens when you are trying to get something done, he was just following this guide. He could not have been more pompous and more arrogant on the phone. And I would like to contextualize that I'm like pretty heavily pregnant. So like, you know, my bandwidth for BS or anybody trying to like, well, you know, it was very low. And he essentially says, look, you should do it because it's the president and he's asking you to do it. What else do you want me to...
You know, that's a good point, Screaming at the Radio, who writes, nice thing about conversations with government officials is that they're recorded and archived, right? Right? Yeah, I wonder if we could Freedom of Information Act request something like that. Can we request the phone transcript of what was said to Candace Owens?
Just do it. Just stop talking about Brigitte Macron. It's astounding. Reflecting on that level of arrogance because he told you to do it. It's an order, so you should do it. And all I was thinking in my mind before I flew into, a little rage was that expression, proximity to power can lead others to diluting that they wield it. You're close to power. You think you're now Trump. You're calling me, even if you were Trump, this wouldn't be the way to speak to me. And you're calling me like, that's an order from the president of the United States. So you just do it. No questions asked. Don't even think about freedom of speech. Who cares about that pesky little First Amendment? You got to just do it now. And I just basically say, look, my daughter's crying because she doesn't like when I step out of ballet, even though she can see me. She's, please, mommy, come back in. You're speaking to me inappropriately. And I just say, I don't really care I don't know who you think you're speaking to, but this is not how you're going to get anything done with me. And I just hang up the phone. I'm like, this is just not a good conversation. I don't want to be part of this anymore. Goodbye. I don't like that at all. And
media breakdown.
The third party person who had initially told me about the situation is trying to calm down and he calls behind. He's like, no,
This story continues in this vein for a very, very long time. Believe it or not, we're not even halfway through this story, this saga about her getting phone calls. And we can't linger on this too long because we've got a lot of ground to cover. But just understand it's an elaborate series of phone calls back and forth between her and the White House. And the Macrons are behind it, manipulating everything. Let's take a look, because Candace Owens was actually slapped with a lawsuit by the Macrons. Here she is just a couple weeks ago.
On to the deets. You heard me live playing Steph with the deets stuff. You heard me live speaking about other TikTokers. So it's sloppy. I think that's legal strategy, is to pretend, is to get these people like me and Steph with the deets to say, we're not giving that information so they can go, oh, look, something is happening. Again, I will abide by your subpoena as it pertains to any time before you filed your lawsuit, but you are not getting access to 10,000 emails for your fishing expedition so you can find out who leaked to me about Scott Swift.
I have no idea what this is about. I wanted this part.
You want peace, you got to drop a couple of bombs first, right? You just got to drop a couple of bombs and then say, I'll call it for peace.
You know, I know we just randomly skipped to that and I have no context for it whatsoever, but that's one of the most insanely unhinged things to ever say. Yeah, you know how you make friends. You punch them in the face a few times, then you're like, friends? And people will want to be friends with you every time. No, that's not how that works.
And that seems to have worked, by the way. Peace through strength. Because the result of Monday's episode has been pointedly fantastic. They're going to write us out of the books. They're going to say, oh, it wasn't because of you. It wasn't because of your podcast or your podcast listeners. They're going to write us out, guys. But we know what we know. Like, we don't know, but we know, okay? Because the very next day, after millions of people worldwide learned...
Why would I want to hear about Candace getting phone called when I can hear about Epstein getting called by Trump?
Indeed, Sake Tanuki. Indeed. A different lie being perpetuated by the media. Interesting that people like Candace don't focus on that, though.
About his remarkable cowardice. The idea that he would fly to Trump and make this request for me to stop speaking about his wife's penis and trying to tie that in somehow with peace.
Yeah, so that's how she's framing it, by the way. How old is this clip? This is from like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Yeah, so she framed that entire phone call fiasco as, oh, Donald Trump wants me to stop talking about Brigitte Macron's penis. And like, just listen to the string of words that came out of your mouth. Like that, it's a sign of mental illness. At the bare minimum, like that is just not okay. And honestly, that does a disservice to people with actual mental illnesses, because most of us are fine. But like, damn, girl, your brain is messy as fuck.
Peace between Russia and Ukraine. Those of you guys wondering how that would work, NATO, obviously, they were trying. He was trying to orchestrate something via NATO, which would require Emmanuel Macron's signature. And you're never gonna guess what happened. Following our episode, the very next...
Yeah, it turns out it's not just AIs hallucinate.
...day, tensions thawed. Emmanuel Macron called Vladimir Putin. Look at this headline. This is in Reuters. Putin and Macron discuss Iran and Ukraine in the first call in nearly 3 years. And that, my friends, like I said, they're going to write us out of this and pretend that this is not the reason why he did it. Of course it is. Just the backstory here, just so you know, is that he positively, I'm speaking about Emmanuel Macron, hates Vladimir Putin because 3 years ago, he had a conversation with Putin, which he thought was private. And Putin put him on blast. He was secretly recording it and put him on blast because, you know, Macron just does stuff behind the Macron behind the scenes is not the Macron in front of the cameras. And
yeah, because we all know how he lies about his wife.
Putin was trying to prove it, which is why at petty. Now, all of a sudden, he's like, okay, I'm ready to talk to Putin and then publicize it. Look how presidential I am. Look at me. I'm amazing. And
this is wildly insane. Yes, it is. And this section takes up half of the podcast. And again, this video has 1.5 million views. People watch this.
I think it's a little bit of PR, but I think it's good that tensions have thawed and they're having that discussion to me. No, with you kidding? Another legal. How does Macron repay Candace Owens with another legal letter? I'm not kidding. Noah says we received no legal. I go, you got to be kidding me. And this one is just all over the place. Okay, this is first.
You know, just an interesting choice to publish confidential, not for publication or attribution material on your stream. It's a choice. That's a choice. As an update to our prior correspondence sent on behalf of our clients, President and Mrs. Macron, we demand that Ms. Owens and the entities she controls retract her false and defamatory statements about our clients in the Becoming Brigitte series and accompanying X posts, including those listed in Appendix A. As stated in our December 3rd, 2024 and February 3rd, 2025 letters, Mrs. Macron has always been a woman. She is not President Macron's blood relative, and President Macron was not involved in a mind control program. These facts invalidate Ms. Owens' false and defamatory statements about the Macrons. This is not a full statement of our clients' rights and remedies, all of which are expressly reserved.
In terms of the actual content of the letter, they write, for the first time ever, by the way, She's not President Macron's blood relative. They say that they stated this in February 3rd. You guys have access to that legal letter. And the one on December 3rd is the first one we received before we had any communication. So this is just a...
Minute Rice 1954, who writes, "Where's the corkboard and red string? This shit is that level of insanity." And I need to ask y'all to come in just like a little bit here. Just come in a little bit. It's so much worse than that. It's so much worse than just red string and corkboard. And I'm going to show it to you guys by the time we get through this segment. Okay, I'm setting up all the pieces right now, but there's one key one that I've struggled to find for years since I originally found it, and I finally goddamn found it. Stay tuned. Let's get back into it.
Lie and a weird paragraph, and of course, they're not answering any of our pointed questions, which we asked them about whether or not she transitioned. But then they list, and this is just literally an appendix of statements that I have made online. You can start scrolling through this. None of this is defamation in America. None of this is defamation in America. It's really weird. It's a weird letter. Again, we're going to publicize this on CandaceOwens.com so you can read it yourself. But I just want to read a couple of these points because we're going, what are you suggesting here? Like, you can't say that me tweeting, "Hey guys, watch this episode." Pull it back up, Skylar. "Hey guys, do you want to watch this episode?" is defamation.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that they're talking about the entire goddamn miniseries you produced, specifically with a man who is implicated in other lawsuits that they have won against this particular defamatory line of statements. So, yeah, it's a hard argument, but that's all right.
Like, let's look at that point there. If it's really you, Brigitte Macron, and you didn't take on the identity of your sister, if it's really you, ... like that's not even kind of defamation. This is really strange. Brigitte Macron, perhaps, is Jean-Michel Trog. No, that is not defamation. Who are you?
I wonder if Candace Owens is trying to argue that it's not defamation because there's nothing inherently wrong about being a man or being a woman. Like, I wonder if that's the argument she's going with. Just like weirdly trying to like 4D chess to like trans people are fine, actually. It's the cover up that's the problem. But that's absolutely not what's happening because Candace Owens hates trans people.
Really? And what is your relationship to Emmanuel Macron? That is not defamation. It's beyond weird. It looks like a dissertation of my tweets and of points from my episode, and they're sending me what I said, like I have Alzheimer's, and they're trying to remind me of what I said. And it's strange because once again, we've already hit back hard and said, we are not getting in line. We've said, file your lawsuits, my friend. We'd like to force you. We'd like to compel you to answer these questions, not on just behalf of the French citizens who all know the truth.
Just as an FYI, the Macrons have already won multiple lawsuits on this particular conspiracy in France. Like the fact that Candace Owens is like, come at me, bro. Like, They have evidence on their side here. They have a litany of victories already. Even if she's trans, then what? Well, again, you all are familiar with the saying, the cover-up is worse than the crime. Here it's a little bit similar, right? Like the idea that everyone around Brigitte Macron is covering up for her being trans is kind of like the bread and butter of this particular conspiracy theory, right? Like, oh, well, maybe it's not a problem that she's trans. You know, it just is an indicator she's mentally ill. Again, we're talking in conservative circles. That's what they believe. So that's bad. But also, everyone around her to the very top levels of society around the world, and they're capable of pulling strings in every country, is lying to you. Now, what are they lying about? Are they lying about the flat earth? Are they lying about the hollow earth? Are they lying about the Nazi moon base? What are they lying about? The lizard people? Like, it's just, you know, whatever. Like, you introduce the idea that there is an elite group of people, and it's often the Jews, but like, it can also be trans people is another one that is increasing in like prominence in far right circles. It can also be a host of other groups of people as well. But you introduce that idea, and then you introduce that there's a the people at the top of society are not trustworthy. And then you can start attaching different ideas, and the different conspiracy communities all overlap with each other. And so you then get exposed to these other conspiracy theories that hinge on that same distrust, right? Just as an FYI. So Candace Owens getting sued by the French government, and obviously this is a big deal. Obviously this is making some big waves here. So we have to turn it over to our very expert correspondents in MAGA world, the Patrick Bet David boys, to see kind of what their take is on this entire situation that's unfolding, because clearly this goes all the way to the top.
Gets a phone call. She talks about she talks about it, I think it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, an episode yesterday about a phone call she got out of nowhere from the president about somebody. Okay, and I want to play this clip for you. Go ahead, Rob, and play this clip. Here's Candace talking about a phone call she got from the White House. Go ahead, Rob.
And I get another message that's like, hey, keep your phone on. And anyways, this phone call is coming from Florida. Pick up the phone, and lo and behold, so here's what happened. I'm negotiating this thing. I'm negotiating Ukraine and Russia, and you wouldn't believe how many parts are part. It is President Donald J. Trump. He is calling me, and in true President Trump fashion, he jumps right into the narrative. We're not, hey, how you doing? He just jumps right into the narrative of exactly how this went down. I am literally, it is hard to catch my breath to comprehend that 4 days ago, I'm ending a series about Brigitte Macron, and now I'm speaking to the President of the United States, and the topic of conversation, no matter which way you want to slice it, is about Macron's wife's penis. I mean, there's no other way to say it, right? Anyways, I like Macron. We're speaking at the White House, and I'm walking him to his car, and, he says to me, Mr. President, can I speak to you for a second? I say, of course you can speak to me about anything. What's going on? And Macron wants to have a little sidebar. And then Macron says to him, Mr. President, do you know Candace Owens? And I say, yes, of course I know Candace Owens. What's going on? And then he continues his narrative, and he tells me that Emmanuel Macron is requesting to his face that I stop speaking about his wife. And one of the things Trump said is he tells me, she's old, and this is really, really impacting her. And then he said, I saw her, Candace, I saw her up close, and she looks like a woman to me. She looks like a woman to me. I had dinner with her at the top of the Eiffel Tower. And I explained to him that she has had...
Wow. Woke Donald Trump. Not immediately glomming on to a transphobic conspiracy theory.
Had this amazing doctor who specializes in transgenderism surgeries or feminization procedures.
Robert, how much longer do we have with this one?
This, guys.
This whole thing. Oh.
Even Patrick Bet David's like, yeah, this all right. Wrap this up. This has been a little too verbose for us.
Crazy. This is wacky. And I said to Trump, and I will be left. Honest that
so it's
at that moment I realized that one day this is going to.
Point. So. Vinny, your thoughts on this? So this is Candace saying that Trump called her to say Macron is asking to pump the brakes because we're trying to do deals, and hey, Candace. Okay,
I know, totally unrelated, but what the hell are these? Why are there weird chrome tie-dye bears on the shelf behind them?
Can you give Candace a call? Your thoughts on this
Listen,
call?
With all due respect, and I absolutely love Candace, but you don't go talking about a private call from the President of the United States. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's freaking Ronald Reagan's ghost. Okay? That's just not loose lips. It's just...
Wait, I'm sorry. If Ronald Reagan's ghost called you, you wouldn't tell everybody? Vinny, you're telling me right now, you get a call at night, you pick up the phone. It's 12 a.m. The light is blinking. No time has come to a stop. You pick it up and you hear Ronald Reagan eating a jar of jelly beans on the other side of the line. He doesn't say anything. He just he's just sucking them down. You wouldn't tell everyone? And he's just like, wait, what am I doing here? Earth, it's been so long. And then he hangs up. What is this contraption? Click. You're telling me you wouldn't tell everyone about that, Vinny? I would.
It's just weak character. If you're leaking conversations or or clicks or whatever. Like it's not, you can't trust someone who's willing to expose stuff like that. Like I don't know. It's not a good look because, like, for instance, do you think anybody's gonna ever have a conversation just with whatever it is with Candace with that information coming out? Do you honestly think, would you trust?
Did the wealth ever trickle down? Everyone who lived in poverty, all the welfare queens are dead now, right? I'm Ronald Reagan's ghost.
Would you trust?
First of all, let me ask this question. Do you believe that phone call happened? I think she said, Rob, what was the exact date? She said sometime in February. So you're talking about 30 days after inauguration, January 20th. I think she says the phone call happened third week of February. The question is, do you believe the call happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
2, so you believe the phone call happened, that President Trump called?
My opinion, yes.
Okay, you believe that.
It's
Okay.
too easy to deny, right? It's like, we never talked to her.
Adam, you believe that the phone call happened.
I do. Do you want me to my feedback?
But the second thing is there anything?
I do have a weird fondness for the social dynamics of these 4 men, specifically the way they constantly tell one another in nonverbal ways to fuck off. Like, you guys caught that, right?
I do. Do you want me to my feedback?
But the second.
Do you want my feedback? And then he just keeps talking like, holy fuck. No, we don't, Adam. We just wanted to know you were there.
Second thing is there anything wrong with her publicly sharing a phone call? That, I guess the second question is, do you think she asked permission from the Trump to publicly talk about the phone call?
No.
Hell no.
Then do you think it's appropriate for her to publicly talk about?
Not at
that
all.
becomes a question. Adam, your thoughts?
Well, it depends on what the phone call basically encompassed, if he said, keep this between us or not. But Candace has an opportunity to basically make friends with Trump or make enemies with Trump. If Elon Musk is an enemy of Trump at this point, you better believe Candace might be in her sights. Now, what you don't see in that clip is the reason that Emmanuel Macron asked that of Trump was because basically it was,
Those bears are basically labubus for crypto bros and they cost $300 minus $5,000. They're art for the tasteless.
Wait, I'm sorry. The text-to-speech really threw me for a loop there. Are they, it's pronounced labubus? I assumed they were called labubus. And I hate that. Labubus, that's a name I can actually kind of like a little bit. Labubu? It is Labubu? I thought so. Labubus sounds like a very obscure Egyptian deity of something silly, like some silly aspect of life, and I am kind of here for Labubus. Just caught up with stream. Did you notice the cease and desist letter that Candace showed in her video, spelled sincerely in its closing as sincerel? I didn't. Holy fuck.
heard the quid pro quo thing before. He said, listen, if you want my help in ending the Russia-Ukraine war, I need a favor from you. Have Candace, who has made it her life's work of dismantling my wife's, husband, whatever body parts, if you really want me to go all in and help save literally millions of lives, do me a favor and make a call to her and see if she can just chill out. Because no matter who you are, no matter what you do, we all have emotions. We all have feelings. Everything's interpersonal relationships. We just talked about how Trump and Musk fell out because of personal relationships.
Roller of eyes.
Do you believe that?
Hello, everybody.
Macron maybe said something to Trump about, hey, this woman has made her life's work about my wife being a man or not? I totally believe that happened. So, but I also, if Trump never told her don't say anything, I'm actually understand why Candace would say this. I'll say one last thing. Making a documentary about Emmanuel Macron's
Good night, roller
wife,
of eyes.
or
Get good
ending the
sleep.
Ukraine-Russia war, to me, it's not even a conversation. You end the war. But Candace in another clip said this. She said, I didn't know what to do. So do you know who she said she called? She said she called Tucker, who she doesn't really speak with, but she got his advice, free speech advice. She said at the time, I was pregnant with my fourth child, I believe. I was emotional, and I tend to be hot-headed. Wink, wink. I do believe that she's been infected by the IDS, Israel Derangement Syndrome.
Jesus Christ.
But I don't totally understand why she's putting that out there for clips, for views. I get that. But hopefully this will lead to ending the Russia-Ukraine war and we can refocus the conversation not on Emmanuel
but I don't.
Macron.
I can't believe that they're like, yeah, Candace Owens is responsible for ending the Russia-Ukraine war. Obviously, we all know that didn't happen. You know, that this is from like a couple weeks ago. But additionally, like y'all are willing to believe this, like sight unseen, that like she's claiming to have had briefly the power to like bring together entire nations. I'm gonna need some actual evidence of that.
I don't think she said that she's changing her position. The fact that she's talking about this, that's bringing it back up. So I don't think this is going to put an end to any of it. It is back surface that people are talking. We haven't talked about this. And by the way, you want to know what's crazy? I actually think she's right about Macron.
Me too.
I actually think that...
So we make it a full halfway through the video before Patrick Bet-David is like, yeah, Macron is a trans woman.
David Attenborough voice * witness the hierarchy enforcement of the straight men. The subordinate male makes a motion for attention by asking to give feedback while the superordinate male ignores him.
Witness the hierarchy enforcement of the straight men. The subordinate male makes a motion for attention by asking to give feedback while the superordinate male ignores him. Nature is fascinating, as always.
And I'm not even taking a position that I think that was one of the better jobs of investigation work that's happened the last couple of years. And I think I even remember we were at a UFC fight the first time she was reading
so
it and
excited.
she's telling us about it backstage. But the challenge becomes that phone call. And Adam, to add to what you just said right there, I don't think this gets her closer to Elon, because she's also been very critical of Elon and Trump. So I don't think it's going to be all of a sudden getting there. Tom, your thoughts on this position here?
So number one, I have a couple thoughts. Man, if the president of the United States calls you and he's speaking about that, I don't think you talk about it on the air unless you had some sort of a framework agreement, right? And say, well, Mr. President, I appreciate the call and everything. You know, I'm very public and I'm very out there talking about many things. If I was to mention this,
I love that their main problem with this is just, well, if the president calls you, you shouldn't tell anyone ever. No telling anyone the president talked to you if the president talks to you. It's a secret. It's a secret you and he share. You know, every day, another mystery.
Yeah, I would prefer you didn't. You can do what you want, Candace, but I would prefer you didn't. I think you ask about that. We've had all kinds of celebrities and all kinds of heavy-hitting, major political people that have said things behind the scenes. Would we have liked, or would you have liked to go on out and say things? Hey, folks, in the insurance.
Yeah, we have 10 tapes full of Republican guests just saying the N-word. It's crazy, but we would never release them because of our principles.
Industry, the following might help us out. Yeah, but we respect what's called confidence. And I just don't think with a sitting president, unless you've got a conversation there and an understanding that you say anything. Now then, I think she's right about Macron's wife, and she's not the only one, but her investigative reporting was quite good and quite deep and quite, backed up. But okay. I have a final little point here.
And her investigative reporting on Brigitte Macron? That's so interesting. This is a great moment for us to depart from this rather than watch the remaining 7 minutes, because, folks, I found out that Candace Owens has a website. This is actually a tangent. This is actually a tangent. We'll get to what I was transitioning to in a minute. But she has a website, and on her website, you can pre-order her new book. And now, having seen the first season of the show where women are property, you know the show. It's on Hulu. I'm totally blanking right now. Handmaid's Tale. Thank you. Remember the lady from Handmaid's Tale, the first season, who used to do book tours as an anti-feminist? Y'all remember that character? The evil lady? Anyway, I bring that up for no reason in particular. Here's the book you can pre-order on Candace Owens' website. Make him a sandwich. Why real women don't need fake feminism. Anyway, that's being sold on her website right now. I don't even know. I have nothing to say to this. This is just kind of objectively funny. This looks like a book that is fake. Like, this looks like if you were to make a fake anti-feminist book and put it into like your movie or your show or something as a joke, this is what it would be. So anyway, I'm finding it all so fascinating, but let's move on, because as you all know, all of this hinges on this Becoming Brigitte documentary series. Again, just some of these videos have 3, 4, 5 million views ballparked, and like that's a lot. A while ago, I dug into this story. I think it was the first time she mentioned this conspiracy theory, and there were already like lawsuits going on in France because people on the right in America were slower to latch onto this story because it's happening in France. But essentially, French tabloids had published stories and continued to publish stories about how Brigitte Macron was a man, and well, they got sued, right? And eventually they lost this lawsuit. But at the time, I tried to look into what Candace Owens was basing her information on. And what I found was this website called, well, I can't even read the name of it, but I have a link to it that I'll put in chat. Here's what we got. Here is like the basis for her claims. From Jean-Michel to Brigitte Trognu, lies at the LC. And what you see here is a gigantic archive of literally all the insane information related to this. You have claims that there are like clone people. You have claims that there are, you know, that she like her brother died, or no, her sister died, and she assumed her sister's identity, and like it's just nonsense based off of like old pictures. They found her brother alive, by the way, and her brother's family alive, just as an FYI. And yeah, you have an entire section here of like anti-vax conspiracism. You have like, this is GeoCities level tin hat bullshit. They're like, she has the bone structure of a man. Look we photoshopped a man's face. Case closed. It's literally just all bullshit. The site is dead as soon as you linked it. I don't know what that means, but like, it's nuts. It's just like, look, a real woman has a big ass, and Brigitte Macron doesn't have a big ass. Case closed. Like, it's psychotic. It's genuinely psychotic. But it goes on like this. I've been scrolling down here. You know what? I'm just going to let it scroll until we get to the bottom, because I feel like seeing all of these images posted over and over and over again, the tabloids being posted over and over again, this is the sign of a deeply unwell mind. This is not proof of anything. This is like insane, stalker, invasive behavior that at the end of the day is about something that isn't important. Like, if she's trans, that's fine. It's not your business. But like, all these people are like, yeah, but it's the giant cover up. Look at that. Look at that. Like, it's, again, we're at the anti-vax stuff now. We're not even halfway through this. I remember seeing this before somewhere. I mean, I did cover this years ago. It's possible you saw that. Why was Baphomet there? Because again, it's all the conspiracies. This page is all the conspiracies, chat. It's all of them. So like, it's the satanic, it's the child sex trafficking, it's, you know, it's all of it. She wore flat shoes one time. She's a man. Like, it's just crazy shit. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. This is when I say it's worse than Pepe Sylvia. This is like some next level shit. It's like political cartoons. You have like a timeline of events. You have like flow charts. You have like, oh, well, COVID factors in on this somehow. You've got all kinds of like, oh, look it, we have all of their family photos forever. Pepe Sylvia. AI breakdowns of whether or not someone looks like someone else in a picture. You know, what could go wrong? Is this just one person? It's like, this website is compiled by one person, I believe. It's all what this conspiracy is. This is the crystallization of every aspect of what the Brigitte Macron conspiracy is. You know, we're not even halfway yet. I've been talking this entire time. Look, she's wearing jeans, clearly a man. Look it. She had brothers, but then she became their sister. It's insidious. Yeah, man is when you have joints that are prominent. Yeah, like when we talk about this being absolute bullshit, the Obama precedent. That's right. Did you think we were going to get through this without this conspiracy theory also referencing how Michelle Obama is a man? Because that's also something that Candace Owens believes. Again, because of this shit. Just the wife of anyone you don't like, I guess, in the conservative world is a trans woman now. Of course, we have all the hits. Yeah, all of them. All of them. I'll never forget the whole ape in heels shit. Yeah, it's disgusting. In 1988, Jean-Michel had already become Brigitte. Like, it's just psycho shit. Pictures of, like, Brigitte Macron as, like, the devil.
I feel like this would work better with Francis Dolarhyde occasionally screaming "Do you see" at Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Do you see? Do you see? Look at the pictures, do you see? This is psychosis, transphobia is a brainworm. Yeah, like, that's kind of why I'm scrolling through this and just, like, letting you guys take this in. Because this is not okay. Like, this is the result of a deeply unwell mind. And the people who peddle this for their own aggrandizement, like Candace Owens, I find very contemptible. You are spreading this around and actively trying to convince people about something you know is not true because it's shocking and salacious if it were. And you're actively pushing this, and it's just a fast track to breaking people's brains. Like, you're deliberately trying to break the brains of the people who watch your content. And I know my content is painful to watch sometimes, but like, it's never out of a maliciousness or a hatred of you guys or a contempt for your intelligence. It's just that the world is pretty bad sometimes. This is just nuts. Look at how their faces are shaped. No woman's face could ever look like this. Look, this neck has wrinkles. Other necks don't have wrinkles. Checkmate, atheists. An in-depth diagram about whether or not she tucks or has had bottom surgery, because again, it's all sexual.
They don't believe in trans PPL, which makes it crazier. I will disguise as a woman. But I'm really a man. Nyaha. And no one will know. It's all a part of my master plan to do evil.
Brutus Magnuson, no, but it is like that. Like, that's what they think, though. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Ode to Macron Mephisto. Jesus Christ. You got the AI art, of course. Hallmark of fascism. This is the worst ancient aliens. Is it possible? Oh, but yeah, in case you guys missed that, yeah, vaccination equals protection. A Pied Piper leading everyone to their deaths. Cool stuff. Cool stuff happening here. Fighting the techno-sanitary monster. Socrates, Plato, and the COVID sophists. It's again, it just keeps going. We're not even
Jack scrolling, chats lolling.
We're not even 3/4 of the way done. When we talk about like fascism being anti-intellectual, this is what we mean. It's anti-empiricist, anti-intellectual. It mires you in conspiracy theories so you can't actually figure out what the hell is going on in the world. And like at the end of the day, it's to lull you into a state of either inoperability or like complacency and make you disposable. Ivermectin, freedom, the freedom convoys, of course. We had to bring Canada into this. The freedom convoys knew what was up about Brigitte Macron being trans. Now, there is something to criticize Brigitte Macron on, and it is the way that she essentially groomed Emmanuel Macron. That, I think, is far more valid a thing to critique Brigitte Macron on. Like the fact that she was his English teacher when he was a teenager.
A lesson I learned from the book. On
Sussy as
tyranny.
fuck.
Fascism is not supposed to make sense. Also remember Steve Bannon's Flood the Zone.
Yep. No, I mean, like, that is why this is like the perfect thing for Candace Owens to focus on. It's another aspect of flooding the zone with complete and utter bullshit. You know, it takes me like an hour to go through this and show you guys this is the depths of shit that this is filled with. Huh? Could this odd fold or odd fit of the pants while someone's in motion be a penis? But yeah, like fascism isn't, when I say like fascism is anti-intellectual and anti-empirical or empiricist, what I mean is that it does not make sense. It is a contradictory ideology that is designed poorly and ensures its ultimate failure. What website is this? This is the website that has just been compiling all of the Brigitte Macron is a secret trans person stuff. Yeah, it's on precipice.free.fr. This website is hell in HTML form. It really, really is. Well, if the AI software is saying these pictures look the same, then it must look the same. AI would never get something wrong. Time Man of the Year? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's so strange. Let's take a look here. Oh, also, will Tucker Carlson interview Xavier Poussard? Okay, no, he hasn't done an interview with Xavier Poussard yet, but let's take a look. March 12th, 2024. Candace Owens is a famous US journalist with 3 million followers on YouTube and 5 million on Twitter. Yesterday, she published a 17-minute video that's proving a hit across the Atlantic, entitled Incensed, This is the Biggest Political Scandal in Human History, based on fates and documents and links to this page of the Precipice dossier. That's right, folks. When I originally found this, I was reacting to this video. I could not for the life of me find this website again until now.
When will we get the real reveal that Thomas is not so secretly a trans man?
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 2 tier 1 sub. But yeah, her evidence for this entire claim rests on this website. Like when I say like, oh, this is just a website that consolidates all the information. No. It's not just a website that consolidates all this information and conspiracy theory nonsense. This is the website she got it from. Understand that at some point, Candace Owens came to this website that we are still not done scrolling through, saw this and said, yeah, this is a trustworthy and reliable source. Candace Owens made a 16-minute video. First of all, Candace is right on the money. One thing we know for sure is that Brigitte Macron was born Jean-Michel Trognu. All those who have seriously studied the case without preconceived ideas share this observation. That's enough to get Macron and his mentor Jean-Michel out of the way, as their lies are beyond comprehension. And then there are what Candace calls theories, what we call hypotheses or scenarios, where, depending on the person, there are divergences, which are ultimately quite incidental. The most important one concerns the identity of the mother of the 3 Azier children. Also, yeah, here's Candace Owens' direct quote on this. This episode is blowing up, so I just want to say, after looking into this, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man. Any journalist or publication that is trying to dismiss this plausibility is immediately identifiable as establishment. I've never seen anything like this in my life. The implications here are terrifying. I do not intend to let up on this story, and I'm calling on other journalists to look into this explosive story and report accordingly. And again, I have looked into it. I got to this website. I spent hours reading it. And I can tell you guys, this is just horse shit. This is just horse shit from all the ivermectin, apparently. But let's continue. Because we're not done. We haven't finished. We haven't gotten to the bottom of the page yet. It's wild. Again, hey, it's weird. It's so strange. Look, Candace Owens. It's almost like I don't know. The main figures behind this are Candace Owens and this Xavier Poussard. And is that Jimmy Dore? Why, I haven't heard of Jimmy Dore in a while. Is Jimmy Dore like just incidental? Like nothing here actually references it. Oh, did Candace Owens go on the Jimmy Dore show? Oh, this is from his interview with Candace Owens. Oh, I mean, that explains a lot, right? God, what a disgusting hack. Oh, she made a shirt. Candace Owens made a shirt calling Brigitte Macron a man. That's nuts, dog. All right. Okay. July 24th, 2024. Jean-Michel's memories in Brigitte Macron's head. Oh, okay. Let's just read this, okay? In 1985, Jean-Michel Trogneux, born in 1945, usurped the identity of his sister, Brigitte, N degree 1, Trogneux, born in 1953, which identity had already been usurped since 1962 by Brigitte Azier, also born in 1953. Jean-Michel, thus becoming Brigitte number 3, manages several types of memories, his own, which are Jean-Michel's until 1985, then Brigitte number 3 until 1985. Those of someone 8 years younger, embodied by Brigitte number 1 until 1961, and Brigitte number 2 from 1962 to 1984. This vampirization of identities requires assimilating the milestones and anecdotes of their successive lives and claiming them as one's own, while forgetting, on the other hand, one's own memories going back to the same period. And that's just one paragraph that I'm reading to you guys. That's just one paragraph that I'm choosing to read to you guys at random. It's all insane. It's all absolutely insane. Also, can we just take a moment, because this stood out to me? A Brigitteologist reader points out a fifth conclusion where the same person, Brigitte Macron, attributes to herself one day a memory of Brigitte number 2 and another day a contradictory memory of Jean-Michel. A Brigitteologist. A Brigitteologist. God damn it. Just, by the way, these are tables created to assess the probability of different scenarios of how this transition happened and was kept secret. God, it's so dumb. It's so dumb and bad. We're still not even close to being done. We're still not even close to the bottom of the page. The 3rd anniversary of Brigitte Gate. I know we don't need to scroll through this entire thing, but I want to really hammer home the point that this is all crazy nonsense. This is all like the rantings of a lunatic wearing a tinfoil hat on the street trying to tell you that Zoltar is going to come and take all of the people who wear Casio watches up to his spaceship in the sky. You know, like this is just nonsense. The words of Emma on the YouTube channel Truth Hurst 4217. You know, that super popular channel. I can't. Some of this is just too nuts. Like, some of this is like, oh, yeah, we found this random internet user who writes like fanfic, like smash up porn on AO3, and you know what? Like, that they make a conspiracy theory out of random internet posters. Yeah, look at that. Another video about it. Candace Owens just making bank off of this. This is both sad and disgusting. Yeah, you can probably all understand why, like, I saw this all unfolding and I was just like, I don't want to talk about this because this is gross and it's weird, and like I need a certain amount of energy in order to like put this out there and present it to you guys, because this is just, it's horseshit. Like, look at this. Here's Geppetto's Chat GPT revelation. Number 2, Brigitte Macron is the transsexual Veronique from 1977. What are you talking about? After Cotton revelation number 1, before tomorrow's Candace Owens revelations, here's a confirmation, more than a revelation, since we presented it back in January 2022 as our proof number 1. At the time we wrote, certainly the expert is self-proclaimed, but his words appear precise. No contradictory analysis has been presented, and above all, everyone can see from the video above that the voices of Brigitte and Veronique are the same. But for many, that wasn't enough. How many times have we been told we have no proof? Now it's the most famous artificial intelligence that categorically affirms it. So even if this is a confirmation of a revelation, we consider that for the ignorant or doubtful people, many of whom have discovered this site lately, this is a revelation. And I'm just going to continue to really hammer this home. Stop using AI. It is designed to break your brain and make you more susceptible to being manipulated. Again, we've been talking so much lately about people who have been interacting with AI for a while, just having their brains completely broken. We watched, we looked at Terrence Howard on the Patrick Bet-David show a few days ago, and like, his brain is so broken, and he talks about interacting and how his hypotheses are all verified by like AI and ChatGPT and Grok, and like he's claiming 1 times 1 is 2. He's claiming we don't know how multiplication works. You know, like the CEO of Uber thinks that he's a vibes physicist. And I'm not even joking about that. That's not a joke or hyperbole. He literally refers to it like that. Yeah, there was a story just the other day about an open AI investor, like a high-tier investor whose brain is broken to the extent that his coworkers are talking about how they're worried about him. So, like, don't use AI. Don't do that. Stop. It will break you. We're still not at the bottom. ChatGPT revelation number 3, just an entire section of talking with AI and validating their preconceived notions. Musk ends Twitter censorship. Huzzah! Yeah, again, you even see stuff reposted over and over and over again. I have no words for this. Like, they're alleging like 3 different Brigittes are one person. Oh, Chillin' Millins. We actually talked about that AI deleting the entire database earlier today. The forbidden survey. It just keeps going. Just keeps going. God damn. Courage is to seek the truth and tell it. It is not to suffer the law of the triumphant lie. Only small secrets need protection. The big ones are kept secret by public incredulity. The proofs, the 2022 scenario and its tree and other scenarios linked at the bottom. Like, if we go all the way, we can't even scroll up that fast. There we go. Like, this website is truly like brain broken. Y'all, this is where she's getting all of her information from. So when we talk about Candace Owens and whether or not she's a grifter, the answer is yes. She doesn't actually believe this shit. She's like, she's of my generation. She goes to this website and sees it for the lies that it is, but she's perfectly willing to use it for her own aggrandizement and money, frankly. It's disgusting and disturbing. And I think it should be especially disturbing if you're conservative. You're such an easy mark that these people, these Candace Owens types, they're putting out this content because they know you're just going to lick it up like slop. You're going to be like, oh yeah, that sure, whatever. The president of France's wife is trans and everyone's lying about it. And so that she can onboard you into another conspiracy theory down the line when this one is no longer useful to her. Because you already believe it, you're going to continue to believe it, and then she can onboard you to another conspiracy. It's really great for audience retention if you're a conspiracy theory channel, right? I think this is one of the reasons why Alex Jones is so successful at what he does. Because essentially, he gets you hooked into one conspiracy theory, and then he can very easily just continue hooking you to another one and another one and another one and another one. And like that's that's what he does. That's why wherever he goes, he's able to retain an audience, because they all like being hooked. They like being hooked. They like it. They love it. They crave it, because it's what they have learned to expect. They have a learned helplessness when it comes to conspiracy theory. And that being said, folks, I think I have to call that segment, because we're at rock bottom. You know, this is what it looks like. You resurrect the GeoCities site from like 1996 and post a bunch of conspiracies on it, and conservatives will flock to it like flies on shit. It's crazy. So there you have it, folks.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, being plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.